Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Moment of Clarity. I want to talk about the UAW strike, which is still going on as of this recording. You know, for all I know, by the time you watch this, it could be over, but that doesn't change the important points that we need to talk about. This is tens of thousands of workers striking, United Auto Workers against GM, asking for, demanding certain things such as health care and various other things, and what gets defined as a worker, an actual worker who deserves benefits and things like that. And there's a deeper issue going on here. This has gone on throughout our history, right? This is that everything that you can think of that has been good for workers has generally had to be fought for. People had to stand up. People had to risk their lives and their livelihoods often to get things like a goddamn weekend and getting kids out of the workplace and getting safety laws. You can't just fucking kill a guy and then well, that sucks for him. Wow, he got sucked into the chicken grinder. Too bad for Carl. Let's keep going. Safety laws, that kind of thing. The laws saying you can't, lightly caress a worker's ass while they're working unless they have volunteered, signed up on the big board of ass rubs. I've put that here at my office, but most offices don't even have the big board of ass rubs. There's not even a way to volunteer. Just saying, I'm a good boss. Okay, I redacted tonight. But no, all the things they had to be fought for, right? I think if we're of a certain age, you think like, oh, this is just how it is. Like you just go into the workplace and there's not a 4-year-old slaving away, or in certain countries, or that you only work a certain number of hours. That you have weekends off at a lot of jobs. What? But that's not. It's not. You didn't just get it. You had to fight for it. And now auto workers are fighting for various things, but there's something deeper going on here, which the Wall Street Journal was talking about in their own, dickish corporatist way. But an article about that at the root of this, that's not really being talked about, this massive strike that's going on that we should all support. We should all support workers when they stand up for their rights. But underneath it is that the GM is switching to more electric cars, good for the planet, but electric cars take 30% fewer workers to build compared with gas engine vehicles. And there's fewer moving parts, less complex to assemble. Morgan Stanley estimates that widespread adoption of electric vehicles globally could eliminate 3 million auto industry jobs. Now, this is nothing new. This is going to keep ramping up. More and more of these jobs are going to disappear because of technology, which increases exponentially. And they have robots that can replace fucking doctors right now, okay? The AI is getting to the point that it can diagnose people better than a doctor can. And if you have a shitty doctor like me, drunk all the time, constantly telling me I'm pregnant, and I'm like, I really don't think that's it. I think I just maybe should drink a little less. No, you're pregnant. So bots can even beat out jobs like doctor now, and that's only going to increase, like I said. So what's going to happen? Well, you eliminate these jobs, and people just get fucked. People they end up struggling. They end up, having to work three jobs to try and keep their life together. And it's really not how it should be. There's multiple steps we should take. One should be democracy in the workplace. The corporate boards are a totalitarian. Maybe I should try saying this in a different accent. Maybe then I can get it right. A totalitarian structure. Boardrooms and they're totalitarian in nature. There's not a democracy, right? It is literally basically the biggest sociopaths get to the boardroom and run the company. Those are the ones that normally get up there. Occasionally there's, some lesser sociopaths and things like that. Whereas, in Germany, they have a requirement that almost 50% of the people on the board have to be average workers. And that changes the entire analysis. So if you had democracy in the workplace, it would change all of this. Workers wouldn't vote to get rid of their jobs. They wouldn't vote to get rid of their health care. But beyond just that, we have to keep preparing for the joblessness that will come. But that should be a good thing. We should be creating a society where people don't have to work as hard in order to have a fucking nice life, in order to enjoy themselves, in order to fucking sit there and if you feel like it and do what you want with your life. Instead, we've internalized this idea that everybody should just fucking slave away till they die, and if they're lucky, they slaved at something they partially enjoyed. That's the way we view it. That's the right kind of life. But we're getting to a point that's fucking insane. I mean, maybe it's been insane all along. But we should change our analysis of these things. And the savings in time and money that comes from, let's say, switching to electric cars. Okay, you're getting 30% of the workforce no longer needed to make the same number of cars. Where does that 30% go? Well, let's take 30% off the workday of every worker at GM, and they get paid the same, and they get the same benefits, and they don't lose out. But instead, all of that savings goes only to the sociopaths and the investors. And here's the thing, some people will go, well, that's great. So that savings, that money goes to the stockholders of GM. Yeah, guess who owns stock? 80-some% of all stock is owned by 10% of Americans, mainly richer Americans. So acting like stock benefits everyone is bullshit. I've also talked about how the stock market in general is a Ponzi scheme, but it's not going to the people. Even if the stock price, even if it helps the stock price, it's going to 10% of Americans actually have money in these stocks. So you need to come up with a new system where that time and money goes to the fucking average people. Because most of us are that. Most of us are not the ruling elite. And we gotta get it out of our heads that we're gonna be there one day. Because I think a lot of people, the reason they stand up for these, awful tax cuts for billionaires and shit like that is because they think, well, one day, that'll be me. No, it won't. No, it won't. And if it were, I hope you'd have the sense to still care about those who didn't become billionaires. But 99.99% of the time, not going to be you. So stop voting as if you're trying to help out billionaires. They're fucking sociopaths, and they rule these boardrooms, and they make these corporate decisions, and that's where every one of these decisions comes from. Not a single one. Not a single decision from a corporation, from the largest entities in our lives, comes from the workers, comes from the people that are actually building the thing, that are actually going home and telling their family how they built that car. That is not, they make no decisions in this process. All right, I hope I made some sense in my ranting and raving. If you leave a comment here, you'll be entered to win a free download of my comedy special, which you can check out at leecampcomedyspecial.com. You can watch the first 10 minutes there right now. Also, to sign up to my email list, which is free, text the word redacted to 444-999 because we're suppressed on so many networks that it's easier to just be on the email list. All right, keep fighting.